And we want to welcome you to our brand new Boss series, Business Owners Sharing Solutions. I don't know if you saw what we just did there, but the acronym BOSS, we're going to have this event monthly. So usually on the third Wednesday of the month. This week we pushed it back to the fourth week of the month. But keep an eye on the Chamber social channels and our calendar as well, because we always have events coming down the pipeline. And of course, this Boss series is brought to us by our sponsors. We've got Belle and Lynn Woodcroft, sales representative for Royal LePage Frank Real Estate, who have brought us the Boss series. Hot topic today, of course, the labor market and hiring advice. That being said, thank you. Thank you to Sean Dooley from the Workforce Development Board. He's the labor market information analyst. And of course, team leader from Agilec, Peterborough and Lakefield, Michael Walker, is joining us today. And we appreciate you gentlemen joining us, sharing some solutions, giving us some insight, and of course, having our questions answered. So first up, Michael Walker. I'm going to spotlight your video in just 1 second, Michael. Team leader of Agilec, Peterborough and Lakefield. Mike's worked in the employment sector for 15 years, primarily focusing on working with local employers, access to hiring and training programs. And of course, Agilec is managed by Muskoka-Kawarthas Employment Services and funded in part by the Government of Canada and the Government of Ontario. Mike, a graduate of Fleming, a graduate of Trent University, a local alum, and an active volunteer within our communities in several local boards and committees. Michael Walker, over to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us today.
Alrighty. Oh, I'm spotlighted. Oh, there we go. Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to try doing this PowerPoint slide share thing. I wasn't actually going to do a PowerPoint, but then I realized that I will probably just blather on mindlessly if I didn't have some structure to this. So anybody that knows me knows I can do that and fill in some gaps. So let me just try and do this share screen thing that we did practice, and I'll still find a way to screw it up, I'm sure. Alrighty. Does everybody see the our mission statement there? Okay. Good. I'm just gonna change this. Okay. Oh wow. So for those of you who don't know, I think I've met a lot of people on this chat. That's the beautiful thing about Peterborough, is that through the two, now one local chambers, I've met a lot of folks through my work and being on the boards and stuff like that. So it's great to see some friendly faces. So Agilec, we are here in Peterborough, and we have an office in Lakefield, and we have about 18 locations across the province. We primarily deal with employment services, but we've also got some training programs and professional services as well. Locally here, we're managed and funded by the Muskoka-Kawarthas Employment Service. That's through Fleming College, and they manage a few different locations here in town, and I'll get contact info for all the local providers at the very end of this presentation. We have a few other programs. We have some funded programs through the federal government. I'll talk about those as well. And things are always changing in the employment services world, as you're probably not surprised. So every time I speak to somebody, I feel like I'm giving new information about programs and services we offer. So if there's one thing we have a takeaway on at the end of this, is be in touch with your local employment service providers. Don't go it alone. We are here to help. Okay, next slide. All right. I am going to do that chatty poll thing. Does everybody have their little chat thingy up? That's a technical term, chat thingy. I can't see the chat. Tiffany, how do I see the chat? I'm seeing everybody at the bottom of my screen here.
The bottom of your screen should say chat, and you should open up the chat box. I'll send another message and it'll pop up for you.
It's actually not doing it. Well, there goes my big plan. Oh, it's the view that I have. I got like a thumbnail type
full screen.
Okay. Probably this is not going to work, so we'll just have to. I'll have to go by nods. So who's struggling to find and retain employees? Yeah. That's why you're here, right? Okay. And I think that's, as we probably talk about, that's a common theme with a lot of. Oh, hold on, I got the chat up. Yay. Perfect. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Okay, so if you are struggling to find and retain employees, say yes or no in the chat. I want to see this. Yes. If someone says no, I'll let them take over the presentation and do it for me, because that's probably because we all struggle with it, right? And so I had to add a picture of a puppy and a kitten. So I just, because you're not alone. I don't know why I had to do that. Just made me laugh. So what I want to do is get everybody to kind of think of the best employee they've ever hired. Think of that star employee, whether they work for you now or you hired them years ago, or just think of that best employee. And in the chat, write what made them great. Just a few words. 1, 2, 3 words. What made that person great? Cassie's got dependable. They cared, loyal, conscientious, flexible, tardy, hardworking, qualifications, committed. Okay, good. And those are, some of the expected words. What I didn't see, other than I think I saw qualifications there, but other than that, I see mostly soft skills. I see mostly things that we don't necessarily put on our wish list when we put a job posting up on Indeed, right? We don't necessarily put those soft skills. We put sort of a wish list of hard skills, actual things you're doing physically and tangibly every day on the job. So I always think it's a really good thing when you're hiring to kind of look at, who fit that profile the best, and did they actually meet our wish list? And a lot of the times, when I talk to employers, they didn't. They just had a great attitude. They came in, they were on time, and they had a great attitude. They wanted to learn, right? So we're training people from the ground up. And very recently I moved myself into a team leader role here at Agilec. So in the past I was on frontline, and now I've started to do some of the hiring myself. And it was really interesting because when I started, I had to hire 4 people, and I hired 3 of the 4 people that I hired had never worked in my field before, and that was necessarily because it's hard to find those people right now. It's hard to find that perfect wish list person. And so, but one of the best things that ever happened was that I hired people that had no clue or preconceptions about what I did. I hired for attitude, and they came in, and the bad habits weren't there, which is great, because I think we've all hired someone that has worked at a similar business in the past, but they may not do things the way you want to do it, right? So and I'm probably preaching a lot to the choir here, because I see a lot of heads nodding with that. Yeah, so and I like to ask people, how many times have you hired somebody that on paper that resume was perfect, or interviewed them and they didn't show up like you thought they would? And I think we've all, as business owners, have had that moment. Yeah, so let's think about your talent pool. And what I did is I actually polled my whole team here today. My team works with employees or employers and job seekers. And I said, tell me what you would tell an employer if you wanted to attract great candidates. And then what makes those great candidates stay with you? And if anybody can if you guys can just put in the chat, what attracts a great candidate to your business? Just put 1 or 2 words. I just want to see what level we're thinking on right now. Fit and drive. Well, actually, sorry, I'm thinking, yeah. So for your, as an employer, what attracts an employee to you as an employer? Solid reputation as a business. Reputation, culture. Yeah, so pay, yep. So when I did this little poll, I got work environment, in-house or training or access to external training. Yeah, I'm seeing that. Opportunity to grow, growth opportunities, flexible work hours, part-time, full-time, accommodations. Accommodations could be, as we know, we're all working from home right now. Is that becoming the norm? Do people want to work from home? That kind of thing. Looking outside the box, reaching a broader audience. Who are we missing in our hiring process? If we're just, posting our jobs on Indeed and hoping that that's going to, give us the right candidate pool, and it's not working, what else? What other pools of talent can we tap into? And the last thing that actually everybody said was pay and benefits. That wasn't the top thing. And I think there's an old school mentality that if you pay a lot of money, you're going to get the right person. And I've had a lot of people tell me I will take a little bit less money if I love going to work each day. And I think we've seen that with our own employees. The best employees that we've had, a lot of them weren't there for the bucks. I mean, we gotta get paid, right? We don't go to work for free. But if someone loves going to work each day, I think pay and benefits and those monetary things are a little can be diminished a little bit. And just so you know, I did this PowerPoint presentation about 15 minutes before I got on here, so there might be some mistakes. So I've also was kind of thinking a bit about where is a talent pool that we may not be tapping into as small business owners. And one of the things that we've, things that have happened, or one of the talent pools that we've been able to tap into with our employers and at Agilec in the last couple of years are persons with disabilities or barriers to employment. And let me just do this here. Yeah, my animations are screwed up. So when I did a little bit of research into this and an untapped labor pool, when organizations have an inclusive culture, meaning that they're open to hiring people with disabilities, open to hiring visible minorities, open to hiring people that need flexibilities in their work, they're twice as likely to meet or exceed financial targets, 3 times as likely to be high performing, 6 times more likely to be innovative and agile, are 8 times more likely to achieve better business outcomes. And that's based on this source right here, which was actually on the Government of Canada website. A qualified talent pool. So there's 645,000 Canadians that have disabilities that have potential to work in an inclusive labor market and are currently not working. And I think, sometimes as a business owner, we think hiring someone with a barrier to employment is going to be more costly. Well, the research says that that's actually not the case. It's actually a really good talent pool that's going to actually save us money. Improving workplace access would allow 550,000 Canadians with disabilities to work more, which would increase our GDP by 16.9 billion by 2030. So I think, we also talk about, I'm here to talk about hiring, but I also think it's good to have a little bit of, keep on our minds, who is working for us right now and how can we make retention a part of our business plan? We all know that for most of our businesses, labor is the highest cost. If you look at our books, the biggest output of money is going to be on our labor line. So we know that turnover is costly. And I think, when I work with a lot of employers, I think they sometimes will see their employees as more of a burden than an opportunity. And I think, when we look at our talent pool and we think of things like what are people looking for, growth opportunities, training opportunities, things like that, that's where we access programs that we can, help people grow within the company and feel more valued as an employee. I think, it's, the person you have in front of you, I think I've often see, employers that, at the first sign of trouble, let's get rid of that employee. And it's more because, we're trying to avoid a headache. But I think long-term, I'd rather keep that person than go through that hiring process again myself. So this is where I plug some of the programs. So the Canada Ontario Job Grant, if you have, opportunities for external training, we can, access these costs. I know some of the people I see on this call right now have accessed this training through us. So, it's a really good opportunity. If you send someone to external training, you can get up to 5-6 of the cost back if it's a current employee, and you can even get 100% of the cost back into your pocket, which is a great opportunity to hire someone that doesn't meet that wish list. But if you purchase some training for them, you can get the funding back or get the money back, so it actually will cost you little to none. So we have a bunch of different training programs that people have accessed. I have a huge list here, everything from accounting to AZ driving to leadership management, lean training, external trauma counseling, pediatric echocardiology. So it's an employer-driven program. You tell us what you're looking for in terms of training programs. So yeah, and then we have some other programs. We have the Career Connect for Youth program, which is a youth focused program where you can get up to, I think it's $15 an hour wage subsidy for 6 months. So if you're looking at someone that you're looking to foster as an employee right from the ground up, this is another great opportunity. So we have this here at Agilec, so be in contact with us about that. And we also have a network of local service providers. So there's us, there's Employment Planning Counseling and the YMCA locally, as well as Fleming Crew. We're managed by Fleming, the Muskoka-Kawarthas Employment Services, and we're funded through the government. All the services are free, so please reach out to us. And yeah, I could go on for a while, but I think Tiffany gave me 15 minutes to chat, and I'm not sure where I'm at here. So if there's any questions, I think we're going to have a question and answer session near the end. And yeah, and I'll put my contact info in the chat thingy too. All right.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Michael. Yes, if you have any questions for Michael, drop them in the chat. I can ask them for you. Otherwise, after Sean's presentation, we'll open the floor to questions. Maybe ask Michael a bit deeper on retention, kind of anything that came up there. And thank you. Excellent. Thank you, Michael and Agilec. Now we're going to talk about the labor market in Peterborough and the Kawarthas. And we've got Sean Dooley, the labor market information analyst from the Workforce Development Board. Sean has a bachelor's in economics, graduate from Queen's University. He's been with Workforce Development Board for almost 3 years. Poor fella. Sounds like he started a few months before COVID hit. Good work on you, Sean. And so he provides local labor market information for Peterborough, Northumberland, Kawartha Lakes, and Haliburton. Sean, I am going to spotlight your video, my friend. Thank you for being here today. And we're going to turn it right over to you.
Perfect. Thank you for that introduction. I'll just pull up my screen here. Yeah, so as Tiffany said, I'm with the Workforce Development Board. And for those of you who don't know, I'll give it a brief background into what we actually do in the community. So we're one of 26 workforce planning boards in the province. We have quite a large catchment area, as you can see on the screen: Peterborough, Kawartha Lakes, Haliburton, and Northumberland. So we're a not-for-profit organization funded by the Ministry of Training, Labor and Skills Development. So our mandate is really to collect, analyze, and distribute labor market information to the community, as well as coordinating training and employment services and engaging employer communities, whether that be through consultations or surveys to understand needs along the local labor market, or informing training. So I'm going to start today with giving a bit of a background into what Peterborough's labor market landscape actually looks like, to maybe give a bit of a foundation for any questions that might come. And then I'll move into some of the resources that we offer through our website or through any other means. So just to give a bit of a background here on what our workforce actually looks like in Peterborough, I wanted to start with demographics and migration because that provides a lot of the foundation into who is actually available to work in our community. So the most recent census population numbers were actually just released last week, so we have the most recent information we can. So about 89,000 in Peterborough. So that's 4.4% growth over the last 5 years. So that's a little bit below provincial rates, but for the most part, pretty much on par. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the net migration figures for Peterborough. So who is coming into our community? And that can provide a little bit of insight into where we can be looking to attracting new employees and so on. So I think what's really positive is that aged 18 to 24 category is well on the positive side. We've seen that number much lower in the past. So very encouraging that that number is on the positive side. Some more young people are entering our community than leaving. And the numbers are positive really across the board, whether you go through that core age working population, 25 to 44, and even the 65 plus, all positive. So growth among most demographics in our community. Interestingly, when we look at the labor force distribution in this area, Our labor force is actually skewed on both ends of the age spectrum. So the 15 to 24 youth category is higher in Peterborough than it is in the province, and the same is true of the 55-year and over category. Whereas the core working age to 25 to 54 is actually lower in Peterborough than it is the province. So that's significant because as you go further out of the age spectrum, the youth are more likely to be engaged in education and training, so they're not as available to the workforce as of yet. In the 55 years and over category, those people are less engaged with the local labor market as they may be looking to retire or slow down and take part-time work. So that's something to keep in mind, that the core working age population in Peterborough is actually smaller compared to the rest of the province. I also wanted to highlight the unemployment rate, which is something I think a lot of people see in headlines and so on, and especially over the last 2 years, it's definitely been a topic of conversation for many. So the unemployment rate in Peterborough actually hit 13%, was the highest it reached during the pandemic. So the unemployment rates persisted at quite a high rate in Peterborough compared to the province throughout 2020. And there was a sharp decline in mid-2021 as a lot of restrictions were reduced during that time period, and fell actually to pre-pandemic numbers. 6.5% is what is typical for this region. It's never going to fall much below that, because there will always be that frictional unemployment, people in between jobs or what have you. A little bit concerning, maybe over the last 3 or 4 months, that unemployment rate's gone back up to the 7, 8, 9%. So hopefully, as we start to move out of restrictions again, we can see that number drop to a more normal number. But as you can see with the provincial numbers there, that black line, unemployment's actually falling to a similar rate to pre-pandemic. So most of the people who are looking for jobs are able to find them. Next, I wanted to move on to the participation rate. It's maybe something that isn't quite as often discussed, but equally as important to the availability of labor in our local labor markets. So what the participation rate is it's the ratio of workers who are either employed or unemployed, but they're actively seeking work as a percentage of the total working age population. So this gives a bit of insight into who is actually engaged with the local labor market, who is, if they're not working, who is at least looking for work. So in Peterborough, during the pandemic, there was some quite rough patches where this CMA was actually the lowest participation in the province. So that number has since rebounded since 2021, above that 55-60% rate. For the most part, the participation rate is not going to be the same in Peterborough as it is in the rest of the province. The reason for that is that Peterborough has an older population, which means people are, as I mentioned earlier, are starting to thinking about retiring, not engaging with the local labor markets as much as they might used to. So if that number can stay above 60%, that's probably a fairly positive outcome. So similar to the unemployment rate, the last 3 months have been particularly challenging in Peterborough, but if that number could rebound above 60%, I think we'd be in fairly good shape. Since Peterborough does have a different demographic profile than the rest of the province, I wanted to highlight the participation rate by age to really get to the core of who is and isn't active in our local labor markets, because age can tend to skew that graph that I just showed quite significantly. So when we look at that youth category, participation in Peterborough is actually 10% higher compared to the rest of the province. So that may or may not be a good outcome. Obviously good that youth are actively seeking and able to find employment in the area, but it might mean that they're less engaged with education or training, which could lead to some shortages in terms of skilled labor down the line. And then for all the other categories, the participation rate is slightly lower in Peterborough compared to Ontario. Where it's really lower is that 55 plus category. There are quite a few people in this region that are less likely, they're more likely to retire or exit the labor force entirely compared to the rest of the province. So engaging those older workers may be something that that can be a strategy moving forward. So the Workforce Development Board also monitors online job postings to understand where the hiring demand trends are for our area. So we're able to filter these results through different occupations and industry to understand what skills are being requested by local employers. So I'll get a little bit more into the details of that in a future slide, but just to highlight what the hiring landscape has looked like in Peterborough over the last couple of years, it's been quite remarkable. In 2020, you can really see where a lot of the different restrictions came into place. April 2020, hiring pretty much fell almost to maybe 20% of normal levels. And then again, you can see where some of those dips might have lied. But in 2021, hiring was basically through the roof, almost double what we saw in the year prior. And as of January 22, our most recent full month, over 1,300 different unique online job postings in Peterborough. So the hiring has not fallen off, and for the foreseeable future, it looks like it'll remain that way. So on the right-hand side, I've included most in-demand occupations. So these are the occupations with the most job postings. So I don't think these are going to surprise most people. These are usually high volume occupations. And by that, I mean, there's a lot of people employed in those occupations, so they're probably going to have the most online job postings. Most active employers, similar thing. So these are pretty much our largest employers in the region. So you can see the university there, the school board, and so on. So we do have the ability to filter by different industries and all that kind of good stuff to get a better handle on some of the nuances to understanding who's hiring locally. So I wanted to move on to some of the different services that we offer and the resources on our website that we provide to local businesses. Some self-serving, some that we can definitely assist with. So the first tool I wanted to highlight on our website is called our Local Jobs Hub. So this is actually a screenshot of what the main page of our website looks like. So what this is it's a online job board aggregator. So we pull the job postings from 35 different online job boards and we visualize them all in one place. So what each of these dots with a number represents are local job postings and where they're actually located in this region. And where we have the ability to overlay the map with different supports. And as you can see on the left-hand side there, bus routes or childcare centers, anything that a job seeker might need to inform their job search. So the great thing about this tool is that the employer doesn't even need to know that this exists. All they have to do is post a job posting on any recognizable job board, such as, for example, Indeed or Workopolis or even Canada Job Bank, and it will automatically populate onto our website as well. So this really streamlines things for the job seeker. They don't need to worry about going to all these different job boards. And for the employer, it just expands the outreach of their posting. So this is the map version of it. We also have a more traditional view of a job board, where, as you can see there, you can filter by and search by different keywords and so on. So the great thing about us being able to collect that job posting information is obviously we help job seekers and employers in that matching process, but we're also able to collect data from hiring in our area. So as I showed earlier with the top occupations and the monthly job postings, and we've made that available on our website in an interactive format. So this is the drop down on our website for the resources tab. So for example, if you were to click on the job demand report section of our website, there is a great interactive report that you can filter into a local industry or a specific municipality to get better insight into who else is hiring, how long a job tends to stay on the market, all those kinds of different things. And under this section, we also highlight a lot of our different reports, and which I think I'll get to in a little bit here in a little bit more detail. We also highlight the different resources available to employers under that employer tab, the drop-down menu. So there's some great informational guides here, as well as links to different providers in our community. For example, employment service providers, where you can get connected to Mike and his team, or any of the other local providers in the area, as well as adult education and training through literacy and basic skills. So lots to go there, depending on your needs and interests. We also offer employer training and website webinars on our website. We have a recorded training sessions facilitated by local experts on different workforce issues under the employer series on our website. Some really great stuff there if you want to check that out as well. And since our website has become quite interactive, there's lots to go there. We're constantly updating it. Another option is to subscribe to our monthly community connections newsletter. So we include local, the most recent updates from the labor force surveys, whether that's the unemployment rate, participation rate. Sometimes that can be a little hard to get the right information, so we make it nice and easy there. We also include our monthly Eye on the Labor Market newsletter, so the top in-demand occupations and skills being requested by local employers. Also our monthly job demand and search reports, so who's accessing the tools on our website, can give a bit of a insight into the supply of workers, which can be interesting. And as well as any updates to employer and job seeker resources. A large part of what we do is also primary research into the local labor market. So for example, we just wrapped up our Employer One survey just last Friday. So you can see last year's report on our website with some great insights from what local employers are experiencing. So the new report will be available in later this spring, but you can access last year's report as of now. And just last week, we released our local labor market planning report. So this is a very comprehensive look into our labor market, which includes updates on economic indicators, input from employers based on surveys and one-on-one consultations, input from different community stakeholders, and it's all wrapped up into an action plan on actions our community can take to improving issues on workforce, education, training, and social issues in the workplace. Last year, we also completed a project on the worker impacts of COVID on our workforce in Eastern Ontario. So this was a regional report across Eastern Ontario. So the report is quite dense, it's quite long. So we also do have an infographic on our website that highlights some of the key findings from that report. So for example, how confident are you of finding a job opportunities once the COVID situation improves? Most are somewhat confident or not confident. Definitely room for improvement there. Something that was interesting was that workers actually said that the number one obstacle for them was there was a lack of jobs in the area, which obviously runs counter to what employers are saying, that they can't find the workers they need. So definitely a matching problem going on, whether that's that can be solved by training or awareness. Definitely something that this report poses questions to. So I've shared a lot of information today. I just wanted to highlight that we do offer a labor market information help desk service. So where you can reach out with any questions you might have that are specific to your business, or broader questions into the local labor market. They can be either extremely vague or they can be extremely specific. We're happy to take any and all questions and either point you in the right direction or give you any direct data that we can to support your decision making. And that's all I have. Happy to field any questions. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sean. Really insightful, really kind of nice to see the graphs and the data and what's actually happening. Excuse me. Michael, Sean, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you. We're going to go ahead and open up the floor to any questions. I'm just going to check the chat quick. You can raise your hand if you have a question or unmute yourself and I'll call you out in an orderly fashion. Oh, someone's hand just flashed. There we go. Alana. Alana, what's your question, my friend?
Thank you. Maybe this is more for Sean, but I'm just wondering, you mentioned you've done a lot of different research projects. Have you received or done any research in regards to how housing is impacting the job market? Because what we hear a lot, whether it's ourselves, this has happened multiple times, or our small businesses in our area, is that they can attract the worker, but then there's nowhere for them to live, so they don't take the job.
Yeah, we've heard that as well. Certainly not unique to this area. We've heard that from our counterparts, either elsewhere in our region in Haliburton and Kawartha Lakes, or even just across Eastern Ontario. It's been a problem there. So I don't think we've done direct research necessarily into the topic. It's definitely part of our action plan as being a workforce issue, something that impacts the attraction and retention of talent in the community. So I know there are others doing some work on that and starting some initiatives, but it's not an easy topic to address, as I'm sure you understand. But yeah.
Okay, thanks. Oh, and maybe just one more question, if I can steal the floor while my hand's up.
Good, Alana, go for it.
So the only way to get on to the local job hub is to go through a different job board. So someone like Agilec or other local boards.
So we have a list of job boards on our website that you can post to. So you don't post to us directly. So if you go through an employment service provider, that definitely will work. It'll pop up on our tool. But you can also, if you post to Indeed or Workopolis or anything like that, it will still pop up there as well. So yeah, and I see Rachel just dropped the link in the chat there. The frequently asked questions, we have a list of the job boards on there that we pull from.
Thanks.
Excellent. Good questions, Alana. Well, if anyone has a question, drop it in the chat, unmute yourself, raise your hand, I'll call you out. Mike from Agilec, we had one come in about retention. Can you offer some enticing things business owners can maybe include in a retention plan, or touch on some of those points that can help them along the way, help employee satisfaction?
Yeah, I think when we work with employers to develop retention plans, it can include a lot of things. A lot of it, I mean, it's asking the person, what do you need to be here long term? And I think, when I talk about, we go through all those things that attract people to employers. Pay and benefits is one thing, and yeah, you got to pay people well, and the more you pay people, the more you're going to attract people to your job. But attracting the right people to your job and holding on to them long term, I think, has a lot to do with providing growth opportunities. Tapping into resources like COJG and getting your employees, trained for higher and bigger and better things within your company. I think you know, when I speak to whether it's my own employees or employers that have long-term staff, really, I think job satisfaction comes down to, you know, opportunities to be challenged, opportunities to grow, to get paid well for what, you know, as well. But that usually seems to be, you know, not number one. I've had people say, you know, if I have growth opportunities and the ability to shine, and I actually like showing up to work each day, I'll take $1 less per hour. You know what I mean? So I think that it comes down to that. I think, you know, some practical things like providing some flexibility in work hours. You know, we have a lot of people as well, a lot of folks that come through here that are looking for part-time work. Well, you know, why don't you fill one full-time job with 2 part-time people? I know it sounds like a practical thing, but, you know, these are, you know, something we may have already thought about, but I don't always see that being put into action. So I think, you know, be creative right now, because there are job seekers out there. If we're having a hard time hiring, you know, where are we looking and what are we doing to attract the people that are looking for work? Because there are people out there looking for work. So roundabout way of, this is a topic I go on about for a really long time, but yeah, I think just, you know, and actually I've noticed, one more little anecdote. I've noticed, you know, I've hired in the last year, some people that are quite young, like just coming out of school, early 20s. And I've hired some people that are a little more seasoned. The ones that are coming out of school right now are constantly wanting feedback and challenge, feedback and challenge, feedback and challenge. They don't want to come to work and feel like they're, you know, a cog in the wheel and that's it. So I think, you know, the more we can do that, the more we can ask people, what do you need to feel to go home each day feeling like you are productive and are growing? You know, that's a good question to ask.
And you made an excellent point. I mean, being attractive as a business, as a career, is far deeper than just dollars. And one kind of theme that sort of came up consistently, especially in the comments when you were asking, was culture. So, Michael, how do you think, or what do you think businesses can do to promote their culture, to show PTBO and the Kawarthas, hey, we're a great place to look. Look at how happy our staff are, whether it's a testimonial campaign or maybe you have something under your hat to kind of help promote that, because happiness in the workplace really does come down to your teammates and who you're working with, right?
You know, and I think high level, we can look at marketing that, you know, using, you know, social media or whatever. But I think a really cool thing to do, if I was an employer and wanting people to know what I do each day and are, you know, why I'm an attractive employer, I would create videos of, instead of putting a job description up, a job posting, I would do a video job posting. I say, here are people doing the job that I'm looking for more people to do, and show what it is like to be there each day and go through the process and that type of thing. So I think if you're trying to, you know, think of creative ways to reach out to people, and I think that's becoming actually a more of a common thing with, I'm pretty sure Workforce Development Board is developing some stuff in that way. I was on a seminar last week with somebody that was showing that. So that's a really good way to do it, because people sometimes they hear about a job, but it's not tangible until they actually see it and kind of put their hands on it. So there's probably a lot of organizations on this call right now who have jobs that people don't even know exist. So, you know, do videos, do write-ups, do testimonials, use channels like us or the chamber to put those out there. There's lots of, you know, already existing channels to do that, I think.
Absolutely. It's like, you know, video profile, like the dating shows, right? Like
exactly. It's just matchmaking, right?
That's right. That's all it is. Excellent. Michael, Sean, we are grateful. Before I wrap up and send you off with some chamber news, were there any other questions? Can we pick Michael and Sean's brain for anything while we have them here? If we don't, feel free to reach out to them after the fact. The Workforce Development Board, Agilec, wonderful organizations in our community. Again, gentlemen, we appreciate you sharing today your insights, your expertise, your own perspective, and feel free to reach out. So before we let you go, we're just going to wrap up a few quick chamber news flash items. I'm just going to pull up my agenda, make sure I am on track, and I am. Chamber members, tag us us on our social media channels. We love to share our chamber member content. So tag Kawartha Chamber, PTBO Chamber. We love to share it coming down the pipeline. Sponsorship opportunities. There are sponsorship opportunities available with your Chamber of Commerce. Of course, as a not-for-profit organization, we're 100% funded by our memberships and our sponsorships. And our events get huge insights, eyeballs on events. So if you're looking for kind of a unique opportunity to be promoted, we've got lots of different opportunities in the Chamber. Reach out to me. We can have a chat. Your COVID-19 business resource portal, of course, as the information comes down from the levels of government, your Chamber of Commerce breaks it out into digestible pieces of information that's all accessible. PeterboroughChamber.ca. 26 Coffees is our networking group. There's 2 full groups running right now, and we have a wait list for a 3rd group to launch. I think there's like 8 people on there. So if we get a few more on there, we're going to launch a 3rd group. So if you're looking to have coffees virtually or when it's safe, it's up to you. But connect with us. We can get you plugged into the networking group 26 Coffees. Chamber members, I don't know if you knew this, but you get access to a whole slew of exclusive discounts. Things like 3.5 cents per liter of gas with your SO gas card. Things like discounts from Waltonwood Farm. Check it out if you want to offer something as well. pkchamber.ca. The Business Exchange is happening next Tuesday, March the 1st. We're going to be hopping around to different businesses. We're going to get a few different kind of tours and insights on collaborations. It is the theme. PTBO and Kawarthas, we are known for our strong collaborations and friends in businesses. So we've pulled out a few of those relationships to highlight in the hop, but you're also going to get networking and breakout sessions as well. So join us, get registered. Tuesday the 1st at 4:30. Chamber AM is Tuesday, March 8th. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be pretty sweet. I'm not going to tell you anything other than that, but information is coming down the pipeline, so that'll be launching. Don't want to miss it. The Power Hour is your political debate, Chamber members. You can email us questions to ask the politicians and save the date. It is coming March 16th, 7 p.m. It's a full panel discussion, Q&A with our elected officials. And we actually have sponsorships available for that right now. Reach out to me. We can have a chat. I can get you plugged in and you can be seen in that space, which is really strong. So if you're looking for that opportunity, reach out to me. Again, the date, the Power Hour, March 16th, 7 p.m. And your Chamber of Commerce, we're your backup. Call us if you need advice, if you need help, if you need a resource, if you've hit red tape. That's why we're in this together. So turn around, reach out to us, email us, whatever it is, we've got your back. Again, thank you to Agilec's Mike and Sean from Workforce Development Board. We appreciate your time and expertise today. And huge shout out to our boss sponsors that enable us to put this event on throughout the year. That's Bell and Lynn Woodcroft, sales representative for Royal LePage Frank Real Estate. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care of each other. Again, reach out to Agilec or Workforce Development Board with any questions, and reach out to your Chamber of Commerce for some backup. Have a good day. Take care. See you next week.